when you were talking about if you think someone should recuse, for those of you who only have 5 people on your committee, if you talk to the chair and the chair talks to the person, you violated the Open Meetings Act because you've committed a quorum.
Oh, okay, so you're saying...
So that's the irony. You can't...
In a 5-member committee, if you're saying if you talk to your chair about someone else on the committee,
Yeah.
I think
And the
Joe
chair
has a
talks to
conflict,
them.
and then the chair calls Joe, are you committing a rolling quorum problem?
To the open... Don't forget, we have a very picky oversight committee on our committee.
Yeah, okay, I mean,
I'm just saying...
I'm not convinced necessarily, but then again, I'm not Mike Field, and he's
I'm
the one
just-
who's going to decide whether or not...
I'm just saying. So anyways, the question I have is the question of impropriety, that gray area.
Yeah.
Okay, my daughter just graduated college, so now she's limited to obtaining a job outside any Pawtucket public facilities.
No, but you are. Okay.
Yeah,
so-
I know I can't.
Right, so-
2 years after.
So this is actually, this raises this issue, which is, by the way, we have 5 minutes left, so I'm going to squeeze a bunch in now, and I'm going to
Okay.
answer your question as you go.
You can take more than that. This is the hungry bunch. You're between them and that buffet.
Believe me, I smell it. No, I'll go 5 minutes, okay? So what you need to know, though, is that as members of school committees, those of you that are members of school committees, there is a municipal official revolving door. And it doesn't matter whether you're elected, like most of you are, or if you're in, what is it, Providence, Woonsocket, maybe one other town, or they're actually appointed school committee members. But it all counts for that. If you're on a school committee, whether elected or appointed, and this applies to your town council members too, you're not allowed to seek or accept employment in your town any longer while you serve on the school committee and for a year after you get off. This might be something you didn't know when you ran for election. So this is one I want to make sure you know. It's in your city or town. So I'm from Portsmouth. If I'm on the Portsmouth School Committee, then I'm not allowed to get a job with the town of Portsmouth, and that includes consulting work and independent contracting work. So I can't become an employee of the town, and I can't enter into a contract to become a consultant or independent contractor with the town while I'm serving in that capacity and for a year after. But my kids can, to answer your question. My family members are allowed to do that, but if they do, then I might have a conflict of interest that requires me to recuse from any hiring decisions or disciplinary matters or supervision or that type of thing, but they're allowed to have the job. It's just that I can't. Now, the exception, by the way, is if you already had that job or that contract when you got elected, you can continue doing it. It's just new employment or new work.
So what about if you're a regional school district? And so you're running in your town, but you serve 2 towns. Can you not work now in either town if it's a regional school committee?
Ah, the Cherahoe School District. Oh, Bristol Warren. Okay, Bristol Warren. That's never come up, actually. But I think the answer is that it probably just applies to your own town. So I think the way Cherahoe works is you get elected by your town people, and then you move on to Cherahoe. Is that how it works? Cherahoe? I don't know. Is that how it works in Bristol and Warren? Also, you get elected by Bristol, and then you serve on the regional school committee. So I'm pretty sure the way we would view it is Bristol is where you're prohibited if you were elected in Bristol, or Charlestown if you were elected in Charlestown.
No, it's just everything what you've been talking about during your time here is why we are called honorable.
That's right. Hey, this is a great point. These are strict rules, and these rules don't apply in the business sector, right? If this were the meeting of the people who in the private sector who deal with schools, you would be crazy not to hire someone you know and trust and value and you've worked with, even if you're related to them or if you're friends with them. You know, or the gift giving, or, you know, if you're in the private sector, these things are, you know, ubiquitous. We always do this. In the public sector is where all of these rules really apply. And the reason is because it's Rhode Island. And so we have these really strict rules that go farther than they need to in many cases. For most of you, when these rules apply to restrict what you're doing, you wouldn't have done anything wrong anyway, probably. But there are always those few people, and when it happens, then it becomes big news. And just one case of a school committee member awarding a contract to someone that he or she shouldn't have is going to tarnish all of you. So you really are honorable. And I want you to know that when you contact the Ethics Commission for advice, that's how we view it. You know, we view you as being people committed to ethical government. Calling us isn't an admission that you're unethical, it's just the opposite. So I'm going to take these last two questions.
Thank you. So I work for a non-for-profit, and every now and then we apply for projects, grants, and some of that gets to pay some of my salary. Am I in violation? So some programs get renewed every so often, some of them are continuous. The new ones, will I be in violation if the city awarded the non-for-profit organization of which I get paid for money from?
What we're going to be concerned with is that you're not helping the city make the decision to award money to your nonprofit employer or business associate. So the fact so if you're on a school board, the fact that the city council makes a decision to award a $100,000 grant to Acme organization, and you work for Acme, that has nothing to, you're not helping to make the city council make that decision. But if it came to the school board, I assume you're on a school board, school committee? So if it came to your school board and the question was, okay, you know, should we award a contract to these people or should we give them a $10,000 grant this year, you would have to recuse from that completely.
So, if I was an employee of the school department prior to being elected to the school committee, do I have to resign from my position that I was in before being elected?
So you're already employed by the school department, then you run for a school committee and are elected. The first question, the first point I need to make is that the first place you should look to answer the question is your town charter.
Okay.
Many city and town charters have dual office holding restrictions that say that no elected member can be an employee of the town, but not all of them. Not all of them have that. And if your town has that, then we don't enforce it. So maybe the town charter says you can't do it, but that's something that the town has to enforce itself. The Ethics Commission doesn't get involved in that, so we wouldn't even issue any advisory opinion on the issue. But assuming that regardless of whether the town allows it or doesn't allow it, we wouldn't prohibit it. We wouldn't make you quit your job. What we would say is, okay, you're a school department employee and now you're on the school committee. Well, don't make any decisions that financially impact yourself. And that could come up in the budget process, it could come up in collective bargaining, and if it did, we would expect you to deal with it the same way that you would deal with it as if a family member is involved. There's going to be a lot more recusal for you. I would say it would be difficult, you know, and there would be a lot of criticism probably, frequently, but as provided you could manage that conflict, then we would allow it. You're welcome. So we've covered identifying conflicts of interest, the recusal process, we've talked about the municipal official revolving door, and we've covered gifts. As to financial disclosure, look, you probably have it figured out by now. You filed a financial disclosure form when you declared as a candidate for the school committee. If you didn't, well, you're going to have a chance to make up for it because you're going to be filing again in April of next year to cover 2016. If you have questions about financial disclosure or annual financial disclosure, you can call us and we'll be happy to walk you through the process. I will simply say this, file online. Those of you who have been filing on paper, please stop it. We're going to make you stop it in the next year or two, so you may as well get used to stopping it now. We're going to be moving to a mandatory online filing, and it's so much easier. It's so easy. And you get a receipt, so you'll do it online from now on. I want to thank you for your time. This is one of the best programs in the state, so thank you.